So this final stage, what I've done is, if you can see it there, I have just done the wet and dry paper and emery cloth and everything else. So all my edges are really nicely filed and finished. Show you the finished one in a minute. What I want to do now, just to put a keyring on it, I'm going to choose my widest point here. I'm going to put a hole in here so I can just put a keyring through. I'm going to use this pillar drill here and I'm going to show you how to set it up. What we do is we want to use a 3mm drill bit just to pop a hole in there. So what I need to do is to change this drill bit into here. So the pillar drill, you need to use your chuck key to loosen your chuck, which holds this drill bit in place. We rotate it around like that and we remove that one. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the chuck up. Those little jaws at the bottom will just close together. And as they get quite close together, just about the right size for this drill, I'm just going to make sure that goes in straight. It's really important to make sure your drill bit goes in straight, and we want to put it in just as where the flutes, the little twisty bits, stop. So where it starts to become solid. We put that up to there, and we do that chuck up, and then what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that spins true, to make sure it's spinning straight. We have a look. So we can see that spins really straight. It would look like it wobbles around if it wasn't spinning true. And now I'm going to line it up with my piece of material, with my piece of pewter, where I want to line it up. Now, usually I mark out a hole, but in this case I haven't. And what I want to do is I want to clamp this down in the right place. And my little speedy clamp here doesn't quite reach, so I'm going to spin this piece of metal around so I can clamp it from this side. And my one issue is I've spent a lot of time getting a really nice finish on this surface here, and I don't want to just clamp it straight down and ruin my finish. So I'm going to use a scrap piece of material and pop that in there, just to make sure that I'm not going to ruin my finish. I'm going to put that on there nicely. And I'm still holding this drill bit down. That gets a bit annoying. This part here actually squeezes this pillar, so if I do it up just ever so gently, it will stop it from moving, and this doesn't move up, so you can happily use both hands to make sure your clamp is in the right place. You clamp that there. Again, if it's not the right pressure, you could adjust it using this little screw here, so you make sure it's tight enough but not too tight. And I'm going to loosen that off, and that comes up here. So that now doesn't move, so we're all good. Also note that I've got a piece of scrap material under here, and where you have holes in the scrap material, if you drill onto one of those holes, sometimes it can make a problem with coming through the back side of that material. So we try and avoid using that, the holes. We want to drill over a fresh piece. Okay, it's a sacrificial bed, so we'll drill holes in it and then we'll throw it away and replace it later. We make sure that our safety guard is down. Pull that pin out here, make sure it sits straight. If you've lined it all up and it's all clamped up, you shouldn't need to see where it's going, but you should be able to see under there. We make sure that we've got no loose clothing, any rings, any watches are taken off, obviously, because if it spins around and gets in caught, if you have long hair, that should be tied up too. And of course, you're wearing your safety glasses to make sure you don't get anything in your eye if it spins up to catch you. If this was to catch and spin, I would leave the work alone. I'd hit my emergency stop, which is down towards the floor with my foot, or I'd hit my stop button up here just to make sure that the work stops. If we try and catch it, you'll end up with a piece of spinning work that heads into your hand, which can injure you. Okay, so I'm going to check it straight. We're all good. I'm all set up safety-wise. I'm going to hit the start button. Wait for the drill to stop. Pop your safety up, and then you can unclamp your work. And you will see that I've drilled that hole nicely in there. And what might happen sometimes is you might find that you've got a little bit of burring, like not the nicest hole. What you can use is you can use a bigger drill piece, and you can just ever so gently push that in and give it a twist like this. And then if you do that, that takes just a little chamfer on that hole just to make it a little bit nicer. As far as I'm concerned, that's finished. I will put in a little keyring, and then I'll show you, do a nice little shot of the finished article to show you the finished.